I guess this is a love poem. So, here I go with some straight talk about alcoholism. Booze. My old buddy. The stuff that dreams are made of. My connection to the starry dynamo of the machinery of the night. My lover's lover. The magical elixir that used to carry me to excesses of dreaming poetry chanted in the streets. Hours of imagined intimacy with imagined friends. Flirtations in bars, where the men told me my eyes had more sparkle than the Milky Way, and I believed them. Piano bars where I sang, and I shouldn't have. Everything wonderful, everything grand, just grand. My Aunt Carol died of pancreatic cancer, and I heard that her pancreas got sick because of the booze. I remember her clearly. One Christmas morning, the guests arrived at the grand old house on Westland Avenue, 11 o'clock, flinging her arms with that flamboyance that made me love her so, and calling out in that trumpet of a voice, a gift from her actress mother, "Bars open!" And how she made it sound like the opening of a horse race, and oh, how we all galloped. And Jim, we meant drunk. And that's how I found the courage to follow you home to that dim studio above the Sunset Strip and push you back on the bed and climb on top and hold, and hold, and hold. We drank for the next 3 years, and you pushed me into school, and you pushed me into writing, and you pushed me into art, and history, and politics, and friends, and long boozy nights of philosophy. And I remember how one night, my friend Pandora, the most beautiful girl I ever met, beautiful like Elizabeth Taylor, said how wonderful it was to be with us because we were always touching so lightly and gently, and we didn't even know it. And I remember, my boozy friend, how your father yelled that night we came for dinner and finished all the good scotch, and how we laughed at him. Oh, and the night we tried to drive to every bar in San Francisco, every gay bar, and ended up crying for the drunks at Twin Peaks. And I said how pathetic they were, and you asked, "Aren't we?" And we laughed. And we laughed. And the long nights of opera, and how you taught me to hear it. And your fingers on my back, can't forget that. And then came the fights, and the flung dishes, and the Wedgwood bowl that John gave to us after one drunken party that got flung across the floor, and how I knew that was the night it ended. But we kept trying, and your sister said I was a leech. And then one drunken night, I told you that you were pathetic. And then one day, you were gone, and I had a drink or two. And that was that. All of this, you see, is a history of the booze, and that is the only lover. The rest is imaginary. Does that make sense? Yes. It is what it is. The night Susan died of suicide, my most beloved cousin, the comfort of my childhood, who hugged me into something like happiness, I called my friend Kevin, and we drank for hours, and I don't remember what I felt. And oh, Susan, you deserved better. And I suppose I grieve you now, but it's been 30 years, and where was I then? There was another love, right off the streets of fantasy, a dwarf-sized Mexican Schwarzenegger with eyes like chocolate, and poetry like poetry, and a voice like honey. And I wandered away one night. And when you called years later to tell me that you were sick, I pretended not to understand what that meant, and never went to visit, and drank to forget. And you loved me, and you called me from your deathbed, and I didn't. I didn't. Oh, hell. Is it any wonder I died inside? But then sobriety for nearly 20 years, and slowly, I wake up. And now I'm Rip Van Winkle. And the young men no longer speak of my honeyed eyes or my sparkle. And when I found my boozy lover, he left this message: let the past be the past. And where now is the starry dynamo? Nothing is what it was. And my young friends, oh, my young friends, I see you dancing your boozy romances, and how is it possible? How could it be possible that I'm envious? Oh, and I'm not envious. And I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry. And I am, after all, so glad to be alive, and safe and sane and sober. But still.
Yeah.